I'm first. Boom. What's up, guys?
Nothing much. What are you doing? Who was eating chips?
Yeah, one of you fat bastards.
Someone was eating chips. Oh shit! It was me. My bad.
You fat bastard. So hey, real quick, let me have the mic. Do a couple shout outs here. Shout out to our number one fan, Mr. Randy. And did you know it's his mom's birthday? Miss Debbie Ravioli. It's her birthday tonight. I don't know how old she is, but Randy Ravioli's mom's birthday. So feliz cumpleaños. Let's pause and let's take a moment and thank our sponsors for bringing you guys this fantastic show every Friday, same time, same place. Moment of silence. Roll the commercial we got there, Adam.
Thank you so much for sponsoring us, Big Doug's Butt Cream.
Actually, we're sponsored by HVACRVideos merch website.
Wait. Who discussed that? I didn't know anything about this.
But if I brought it up, you can't deny it in live air.
I can't be associated with this. This is not good.
We had a merchandise meeting right before this to figure what the split's going to be.
Oh, yeah, 90% for me,
Chris
right?
is a little greedy. We're still working on the term.
Yeah, we're over here like trying to slice one slice of bread amongst us all.
Just like when they're trying to get somebody on a team, right? It's Chris, guys. It's Chris. He just doesn't want to give in. So what are you going to do?
He's what you call not a team player.
Yeah.
I've been meaning to tell you guys this. This just isn't working out. So I'm going to need to go ahead and separate myself. You guys aren't meeting my expectations. I told you guys we needed to have some more viewers, and the numbers just haven't been there. So
hey, we still got to get to the weather report and traffic. The traffic is horrible out there. I-96 is backed up clear out to Middle Belt. It's madness out there.
There's no 96 in California.
Maybe there's no 96. Is there a 69?
No, there's a 60. The 60, the 15, the 91, the 405, the 22.
69 runs right by your house.
No, it doesn't. 60 and the 10 are by my house, and the 15.
I don't get pineapple pool party 69 joke.
That's exactly it. I like.
What are you guys up to this week? Guys, do anything cool? Anything fun happen?
I just got a service call. That's how that goes,
Like just now, somebody just submitted it.
Just now, walk-in freezer service call not working.
Why is it? Why is it like every Friday, almost every Friday at night, man? I swear to God, your customers are the dumbest people.
Yeah,
I bet you that's been down since 2:00 Wednesday.
Well, probably so.
And they're like, I don't know. We just thought it would come back and fix itself. We unplugged it and plugged it back in.
This is my apprentice's first on-call weekend too.
Oh, snap. Have him call you live on air tech support.
I was gonna say he's gonna call you. You know what? Which is fine.
I'm giving him a half-hour head start, so I'll give him a half hour. Let him get there. He'll give me a call. I'll figure out what's going on. Hopefully, it's just iced up. He can de-ice things. We'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Oh man, you got to do it live. I want to talk to him.
No, I can't be doing that.
Yeah.
Can't throw my guy under the bus,
It's a big
Neil
bus.
says, tell him to shut the door. Yeah, I hope it's that easy, right?
Shut the front door.
It's not going to be that easy. It's going to be iced up with 7 inches of ice on both sides of the coil, and it's going to have a steak knife through it because they tried to defrost it themselves.
No, what's it called? Tenderizer.
Yeah.
A tenderizer just beat the shit out of that coil.
So one of you guys told me that.
Pretty much. I better stop talking because I'm going to get cursed with the worst outcome.
It's going to be another compressor changeout. That's what it always is. Friday
That's
night
how
compressor changeout
freaking-
or weekends.
That's my luck.
Fridays and weekends.
We've been resetting the breaker for 3 days. It just keeps tripping instantly. You know?
See, and that's what it's like. You know, I mean, a lot of you guys that do commercial, I don't know how many of you guys watching do actual like commercial industrial sort of stuff, but the restaurant side of commercial, it's like a whole different animal, man. Like, not making fun of restaurant managers, but they are not technically inclined, mechanically inclined. You know, they just see it like Chris said. We just kept resetting the breaker. Thought it was gonna be fine.
I say we bring our guest in right now because he could probably have some good insight into this.
Who's our guest this week?
I thought we had a guest. Do we not have a guest?
Do we have a guest?
We had one.
I don't know.
Oh shit!
We do have a guest. It's Brett Pretzel from the Advanced Refrigeration Podcast.
What's going on, guys?
Nothing much, man.
If you guys didn't know, this guy right here, Mr. Brett Pretzel, he is from the Advanced Refrigeration Podcast. And if you guys don't know that podcast, you need to
wait 1 sec. I'm gonna interrupt you. Did we negotiate the terms of how much Brett's gonna pay us to say his podcast name?
Good point.
He's sending me a t-shirt. That's all I know. That's all I care about.
We work on t-shirts.
All right. So we're gonna put him on the spot. $500. We're gonna mention your name once. That's it. Only once and only once. No.
But you're getting $500. I'm just getting a t-shirt.
Well, that's your fucking problem. I'm putting Brett on the spot, just like you guys tried to put me on the spot.
Be a nice t-shirt with a nice collar.
I'm just gonna sit here and read my magazine then.
Oh, hold on.
40 over.
I wonder who was on that magazine.
40
I don't know.
I'm just gonna sit here and read my magazine right here, bud. So
we're having the battle of the
last year.
That was last year when COVID, you know, so it was few and far between who they
right.
Oh,
right.
Yeah.
Man, I wish I had some way to be pompous. But I don't.
If you guys don't know what we're talking about, Brett and I are joking around. The news magazine does the top 40 under 40 technicians every year, and I was lucky enough to make last year, and then I got bumped out of my spot because there was this new up and coming podcast, and so Brett and his friend made it this year. You know. No, it's pretty cool though. They got a lot of cool industry professionals on there. It's really neat that they actually take the time to recognize people and stuff. So it's a pretty neat little honor to make it. So.
Speaking of recognizing people, Brett, your podcast is doing pretty well.
Yeah. We're this week, I think we're going to hit about 30,000 downloads since it's been, I think, 7 months since we started it, and 70 different countries. That's crazy. Like, you know, like I said, we started this thing on a whim, you know, just to, you know, put out information. It's just, it's blew up. It's insane. Yeah. I'm extremely humbled, you know, to, you know, be able to just to share information with everybody, you know.
Now, let's point out that we had Brett on the show long time ago. Like, I think back when he was the janitor for the company, and then he got that overtime bump, and now, boom, look at him. His world has changed. He was homeless. He was stealing stuff from Home Depot, he said.
Surviving.
Came on the overtime show, and then like 2 weeks later, people are calling him like, Brett, you got to do this for us. You were on the overtime show. I mean,
so I got the bump when I did the podcast with Mike Rowe. That's what happened.
Oh, that's Brett's name dropping all over the place.
Oh,
everybody was jealous because you know Brett got invited to be on a panel where Mike Rowe was on there, and we were all jealous about that.
That's true.
Was that pretty cool?
Yeah, absolutely. So what happened was when they originally asked me to be on it, they just said, we're trying to get a Mike Rowe-esque type person. I was like, oh, cool. You know, whatever. Just, you know, I'll be on it for sure. It was about education. And a couple weeks later, I'm scrolling through LinkedIn and I was like, damn, they did get Rowe. I was like, that's amazing. So, you know, I was, you know, it's just awesome to be on there. You know what I mean?
Did you talk directly to him?
What's that?
Did you talk directly to him?
Yeah. Yeah. We you know, basically we were talking about the importance of education and how like a lot of companies now, unfortunately, they look at education as an expense rather than an investment.
Exactly.
You know, that's one of the big reasons why there's such a, you know, shortage of technicians, right?
And they're like, we don't know why nobody wants to work for us, or we don't know why our technicians are all idiots.
Well, plus, you know, high school, you know, they push college nonstop, right? So you got to go to college, and where, you know, you can make more than, you know, anyone that you went to high school with, you know.
I mean, I'm making more now after I got my degree in arts.
Do you really have a degree in arts, Bill?
No. Although,
I was gonna say,
fun side story, I went to college for 2 years because I wanted to be a psychologist. And then I realized how depressing that is to listen to other people babble on about their problems. I'm like, I can't deal with that. I have
You would
to.
be an amazing shrink, dude. Your
It's
voice
so
would just-
hard. Like listening to you guys babble on about your problems every week is hard enough. Like if I had to do this as a full-time job,
I don't know how you listen to me so much,
you're-
Bill, because my
you're-
problems are ridiculous.
Your dreams ended with that, and you became a washer and dryer repairman.
yeah, yeah, that was a real sidestep from that. I'm like, screw this. I'm gonna go fix washers. Yeah,
Basically learning how to bypass the lid safety. Like
Been
just
going-
it stopped working. Just lift up the lid, put the shim under there,
Yeah.
pop the 2 wires together. Your dryer will work. I'll be there tomorrow.
The
been
doors
going
lid
downhill
safety.
ever since.
Now, before you guys were bringing up, the difference between commercial and industrial, and fortunately, like usually when you work industrial, there's so much redundancy with all their systems because there's hundreds of thousands of dollars at stake. Where commercial and and light commercial, restaurant and rack, there's no redundancy. So if it's broken, it has to be fixed yesterday.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I'm light commercial. Like I think you might have heard, but I literally just got a service call right now and have to dispatch it. Luckily today was my apprentice's first day of being on call with me, so I told him I'd give him a half hour, 45-minute head start. So he's on it. He'll call me when he gets there, and but. And for me, it's usually dumb stuff because, like Bill was saying in the beginning, I'm working on a walk-in freezer at a restaurant where they've probably been putting off calling for, and this has been happening a lot. Oh yeah,
Mhm.
well, it's been broken for 2 days and we've been resetting the breaker. And it's like, so why do I have to come out now? Oh, but we need you now. And it's like, and then you go out there and it's something dumb.
Do they do that in the world of racks too, Brett? Like they put it out because it seems like
It's been alarming all week, and finally Friday night, when everyone's stocking everything because so many people are shopping, that's what basically does it. Same thing with commercial restaurants, right? They don't really go in a lot during the week, and then they get that dinner rush Friday night, and then forget it. Then it really starts going up and tap, and then that's why it's an emergency then.
So have you guys, Brett, noticed? I've noticed this a lot, big time, with the whole shortage of employees in the restaurants, and I'm sure supermarkets too. Have you noticed the service calls have gone through the roof for stupid stuff? Mine is like, for instance, dude, I can't tell you how many iced up walk-in coolers and walk-in freezers I've been going to in the last 6 months where they're just leaving the doors open. And then we don't leave the doors open. And I'm standing there in the box. And the other day I walked in there and the restaurant manager, the lady that's in charge of the restaurant, she's standing in the walk-in with the door wide open. She's got a jacket on and she's freezing. And I'm like, hey, you got to shut this door. And she's like, oh, but it's so cold. And I'm like, what?
that's what it's supposed to be.
Wow, this is what you do. So when I was when I lived in Pennsylvania, I had to drive all the way out to Watchung, New Jersey, which is probably a 2.5-3 hour ride. And, it was the same situation. So the following Monday, when I went back, I got the largest, loudest alarm that I could get, the most obnoxious thing ever, and just installed it on there. So basically, if the thing was open up, more than 5 minutes, it's going to be obnoxious. Close that damn door.
Is it like a big red light too, audio, visual, and
Oh,
everything?
absolutely.
Yeah.
The most obnoxious one I can get.
And see, that's what we need in the restaurant world, where just something like if I could have just a monitor hanging above a big red light that blinks and be like, your cooler has been over 45 degrees for 2.5 hours. Call for service, you stupid person.
Well, fortunately enough, a lot of the rack stuff, they always have digital inputs actually seeing when the doors are actually open and shut. So there's proof right there. But sometimes what they'll do is all the door switches are typically magnetic. They're a magnetic switch. So you'll see a lot of times you'll see a magnet right next to the damn door switch. So normally it would alarm after 5 minutes of being open, but they'll put that magnet on the switch to fake it out. So the door can be open for as long as humanly possible, and it doesn't matter because they got the magnet on there basically energizing the switch.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, do you find, I missed the first part of that, but I caught the tail end of it. Do you find that door switches have a lot of failures? Do you find like, false calls because of door switches and things? No. See,
No.
The limited amount of door switches and pump down switches that are wired to door switches and stuff like that I've run into have just been problematic for us because they leave them open. Or sometimes some of our systems, they'll have integrated controls to where, into the KE2 or whatever controller, it'll it'll look at the door switch for a half an hour, but then after a half an hour of it being open, it turns the system back on anyways because it thinks there's a fault. And then it's just like, yeah, but the door's still open, you know, or things like that. And
so that's why I said before, yeah, like I said, I had to drive 3 hours one night for a service call. And that following Monday, I put the loudest, most obnoxious alarm buzzer on there as possible. Yeah, because you know they're going to have it open. If they're annoyed by something, they're going to do something about it, right? So
in my kitchens, I've done door alarms, and then I'll go back and there's a piece of duct tape across the door annunciator.
Nice.
I'm not kidding you, like, dude. But we've been running into problems where they're having to hire staff, and this new staff isn't trained. The management isn't trained, and I kid you not, I'll go to a restaurant, and this is a restaurant that's like, I'm not going to say the name, but they're way up. They're a good chain, you know, but it's just they're having problems right now with management and employees, and they won't notify people that the system's down. And I'll be talking to them. They're like, yeah, this breaker's been tripping for 2 days. And I'm like, you should have called me the first 2 hours. I'd have been here.
Yeah.
Oh, we thought it was in defrost. Like,
speaking in generalities, I think common sense is just kind of going to the wayside.
I think it is. I think
as the generations progress.
I just read an article where, you know, they were saying there's a huge brush of, you know, people just basically quitting. You know what I mean? So like it's not only are they, you know, getting people that really don't want to work, but, you know, they just don't care. It's not their stuff. It's not their equipment. They don't care.
Yeah.
No.
That, and one of the things I'm noticing too right now is, you know, right now restaurants and fast food are having to just really try hard, and they're paying crazy money. It's like some places are paying $20 an hour to flip burgers.
I see that even around here, which is crazy from our area.
Well,
Chick-fil-A, $19 an hour.
But here's the thing. That's not going to be for long. If people think that they won the fight because these restaurants are going to pay them $20 an hour. First off, $20 an hour isn't nothing anymore because of inflation and all that crap. But second, all these restaurants right now, they're investing in automation. They're replacing all those cooks with freaking machines that cook everything. So this is just a means to an end. They're just doing what they have to do to survive. So these people that think they won the fight, you didn't win the fight. You're going to lose your job in 2 years, you know? And it's like, yeah, you're going to get a quick buck, but then you're going to be out of work.
That's right.
Before we get to what Brett's doing now, I was going to ask you, Chris, is your employee calling you yet or what?
Yeah, he just called me a minute ago just to let me know he was leaving and heading to the call. So he's not there yet. He's got a 45-minute drive there.
There has been a few changes, Brett. So why don't you just give us a little quick synopsis of what you're up to nowadays, like what you're doing,
what's your role in your company now?
Yeah. So now I'm the manager of technical troubleshooting and training for the whole company. So coming up with curriculum, I'm going to start doing videos like this, but, you know, basically hooking up a controller to the computer. So like when I share a screen, I could basically bring up like some sort of controller. Like I was playing around with the KE2, the evaporator
efficiency controller.
Yeah. So I was trying to hook that up Bluetooth so I could actually see what was going on.
Sweet.
And a lot of times I use potentiometers to basically simulate temperatures, you know, because it's a resistive load. And you can do the same thing as long as you knew the range, right? So KE2 uses 2.2K ohm resistors or thermistors. So basically I'll get like a 3K. You just got to make sure it's a B style because the B style is linear. There's two types of potentiometers, A and B. B is linear, so it gets a lot of smoother transition. Gotcha. So some of the controllers that I have that I've made trainers out of, you know, basically you can see the electronic expansion valve operate and stuff like that. But so I'm making stuff like that, making videos so I can show people like how to do stuff on the controllers, testing out some new technology. You know,
real quick to butt in here, Brett. In the rack world, which I don't know much about this rack world, but in the rack world, is there anything? Because it doesn't sound like there's anything like this that's been done before. I know guys have like put together like controllers, like actual physical controllers, but it sounds like you're taking that platform and just running with it. Is it? Is that the case? You think?
Absolutely. You know, we have some training facilities, but you know what we're starting to do now is basically building trainers and putting them in like Pelican boxes. So if I need to ship it out, like if, you know, let's just say someone needs training on a KE2 out in Oklahoma, then basically I can make a trainer, pack it up, and just basically send the whole damn Pelican box, you know, and then they can learn on the controller. Like I said, also testing out new technology. So what I was trying to show you guys before, these are called realwear glasses. Basically, there's a camera here. So whoever's on the other line, so if someone's wearing this, I can be on the computer and actually via Microsoft Teams, I can actually talk with them. And then there's an eyepiece down here, and the eyepiece, you can actually see schematics and stuff. So like, let's just say I'm helping someone diagnose something, and they can't find the schematic. I found it. I send it to them, and it basically looks the size of the tablet when you're actually looking in there.
Interesting.
They can take pictures. It's all voice command. They can take pictures and then send it to whoever they're talking to on the other end. And we actually just did a test where basically I had a meeting with somebody and went into a rack room. And if anyone's ever been in a rack room, they're loud as hell.
Oh, yeah.
That's why I'm deaf. And so basically, it has excellent noise canceling.
That's
and
why
the
you're
only thing
shouting
is,
right now.
No, you're good.
So, who makes those, and what service is that? Like, is there a company that you have to subscribe to use those, or?
No, so like the ones that I have are from RealWear. Google Glasses makes one. There's a couple of different companies that make them, but that's the one that we did a test run probably for about a month. So I was just taking it out and doing different tests with it. Basically making sure that we can utilize it, in the trade.
Yeah.
Because that was the biggest concern. Because I was like, there's no way that the noise canceling is going to be that good, and man, I was wrong.
I just had an idea. Take this a step further. Are you familiar with that? It's like a contraption that you put over your arms and everything. It's called the exoskeleton, where it's like a robot in that. You got to couple that together so you could just sit in your office, just fix the shit with the
just like throw an apprentice in the Iron Man suit.
Well, I've done FaceTime diagnostic with people, but I end up getting agitated because the phone's going like this the whole freaking time. And then I'm telling them where they need to hook the stuff, hook their meter up to actually test it. So I don't see what they're doing. So there's a high probability they could not be where they're supposed to. Plus, trying to hold the phone, they might get electrocuted. So this way, utilizing that, it's more safety oriented, and I can actually see what the hell they're doing.
So, but what kind of what level of technician would you feel comfortable wearing that kind of technology? Like, is that something you'd throw an apprentice in? Like, what are nothing?
No. So the idea is basically, if a lower level guy is having issues, basically they get shadowed with a higher level tech. At that point, if they can't figure stuff out, then at that point they would call someone like myself, and basically I try to walk them through. So the higher level techs, the service supervisor, stuff like that would be in charge of that, because obviously, let's face it, they're more responsible than an apprentice, right?
Yeah,
More experience, yeah.
Right. I think that's great. I love that technology. I've looked a little bit into it. It's ridiculously pricey. The last time I looked,
$700.
What's that?
2,700.
Yeah. So, and I think that's cheaper than the last time I looked. But I think it's only going to get better from here, because as it becomes more mainstream, obviously they're going to be able to drop the price, and all that stuff. So it's great where that's going. But where I'm afraid of, and I'm kind of curious what you think about this, is I'm afraid of the mentality right now of trade schools adopting these programs where it's all online education. I'm afraid that with the advent of those, people are going to try to throw apprentices into places where they shouldn't be and think that they're going to try to fix things. And we all know that's not going to work. So, I mean, it would be an epic failure, but you obviously still need experience. You need someone on the ground that knows what they're doing. That just might need a little push, or assistance,
So on top of the online, or on top of the in-person training that we do at Coolsys, we do have an online program as well. But there needs to be checks and balances, unfortunately. Yeah. You have to, check in with that technician, because unfortunately a lot of people, they'll and that's across the board, they're just memorizing answers, for tests and stuff. They're not actually learning the stuff. So basically, there has to be a technical manager that checks in with them weekly, and basically going through and hey, this is what you're going to do. What have you had problems with? What have you went over? Just to make sure that they're actually learning the stuff instead of just memorizing it.
Yeah. And some of the, sorry, go ahead.
What I was going to say is that's one of the biggest problems. And, some guys hate me for this. Sometimes some guys like me for this, but I never usually, if someone's trying to diagnose something with me over the phone, I never give them the right, a true answer. It's usually, I ask them a question to ask their question, and then it makes them think about, oh shit. And then all of a sudden the guy's like, oh, I'll call you back. I got it. And then, so because here's the thing, like if you spoon feed someone forever, right, they're never going to learn how to feed themselves. So, basically, getting them to think for themselves and think about what they're doing, in order to be a more competent technician.
Yeah, definitely. I forgot where I was going to go with that, but you made a great point about not spoon feeding them, because, if you give them that answer, they're never, that's what I was going to say. They're never going to really learn. And, some of the best advice I can give to people is from mistakes that I have made. And when I made those mistakes, I recognize things around me. I remember the sounds, I remember the smells, and oh, damn it, I just did that. So it's experience that taught me to be the technician that I am. So you can't just expect someone to learn online. Now, online as a supplement, for sure, that's a great idea, because you have an experienced tech, you can show them things. And it's interesting though too, because I say this often, that in the past, we were able to make more mistakes and learn from them. But unfortunately, with today's equipment, the tolerances are so tight. The customers are so impatient. They don't have patience for us. There's not room for mistakes.
The companies just don't let you to make mistakes. They don't let the new guys make a mistake. Like Brian Orr's one of his most recent podcasts I was listening to, he made a good point that some of these companies aren't setting aside training budgets, let alone setting aside enough training. Let's say, I don't even know if you call it training dollars, but they're not letting guys make those mistakes, and even having journeymen go out and like help them redo it, or like you've made a mistake, you had a callback, go do it, go fix it, you have 2-3 times. You need to learn. I've
heard the statement from several people that talk bad about trade schools. Trade schools are the worst thing in the world. Every technician I've hired, they said they were experienced, they said they were trained, and I put them out there for 2 weeks and they couldn't do anything. Who the hell hires someone at a trade school and throws them in a van? Like, no, trade school gives you fundamentals of which you build upon once the tech apprentices with you, and then you grow him from there. So these people that think that trade schools are going to do it all, no, trade schools give someone the fundamentals of which they go and then do a proper apprenticeship. Now, when I say apprenticeship, I mean, I'm not a union company, but I call my technician that's new an apprentice. Okay. I don't necessarily mean a full union apprenticeship, but
steal that word, Chris.
Yeah. I have a guy working with me, and he's going to work with me for about a year. He's a great technician. He's learning the ropes, and he's going to grow from that. And we all have different ways, but to expect a technician to come out of trade school and immediately hit the ground running, that's not right.
Usually it seems like after about a year and a half, 2 years, a technician can start actually doing stuff on their own.
Yeah.
And then usually after 5 years, they get real pompous and they think they know everything. Yep. And then they get one call that puts them on their ass. Like, I really don't know shit.
Yeah. I remember my dad telling me that exact thing, because I learned from my dad, and he goes, you're doing great, but you're going to hit that wall. You're going to hit the point at which you think your shit doesn't stink because you're knocking it out of the park. And he goes, but then I'm going to start releasing stuff to you that I think, you need a challenge on. And I got my ass handed. And
God does this to me, where I'll get to a point like, it's like, man, I'm doing pretty good, man. I haven't like screwed anything up. Like, I seem to know my shit. And then like the next day I hook up a fan cycling switch to the suction side or something. And it takes me an hour to figure it out. I'm like, why is this not working? And then an hour later, I'm like, oh, that's why, because I've gone retarded. Funny.
I actually just saw a post. Someone posted a picture of a gauge. It no longer says retard on the gauge.
Oh, yes. I saw it.
They had to. Yeah.
Look, you know what? I understand people are sensitive. I understand.
I'm sensitive.
You can't
Chris.
say this. You can't say that. But the political correctness needs to fucking stop. This is
going
ridiculous.
too far. They don't even call shark attacks anymore.
No, what they call it?
They call them shark encounters, because the sharks aren't
a shark incident.
Like, sharks can't feel you, so they taste you with their mouth to see if you're something they want to eat. They're not trying to attack you.
What?
Yeah,
that's what they're going for. So they're called shark encounters now.
And these days, we just because someone has a bad experience with a name of something, it doesn't matter if it was called that for 50 years before this one person had a bad experience. Mm-hmm. Apparently, this is racist. This is the most racist symbol in the world. People are getting fired because they do the OK symbol or whatever. You remember when we were kids, you do this, you got punched.
Do that.
If your
we
friend
used to do the owl eyes.
But because of 2 years ago, someone, a white supremacist group did this, and now it's racist. It's like, that's bullshit. We used that as kids. It was a game that we played. And it had nothing to do with racism. we're all too sensitive about everything these days, and it's just dumb.
That's true. And I would also like to say it does take context to whatever it is you're saying. You know, like you can obviously say words in different contexts and make them super offensive, but at the same time, like I just throw words around sometimes, and I'm probably offending some people, you know, but it's just who I am. Those are the words I want to use sometimes.
Retard does mean advanced and backwards, just like on a motor.
Yeah, the term retard on a compound source gauge does not mean mentally challenged person. It does not mean mentally challenged person. It's a term. Yeah, it's.
Well, I think it does if you actually hook the low side up to the high side, right?
Yeah, your motor's gone retarded.
Or if you put the freaking fan cycle control on the suction side.
Oh, sorry, that's what it was.
Like I don't know, your fan cycle switch has gone retarded.
Oh man.
What was that pump you were talking about early, right before the show there, Brett, about that pump that you had a problem with?
Yeah,
it wasn't mine. It was one of Kevin's, but basically he had a pump board that was overamping, and you know, we were on the phone trying to figure out what the hell it was, and basically the manufacturer sent out a pump with a impeller that was basically, I think, 2.25 inches or 2.5 inches bigger than what it should have been, and it was making the pump actually overamp by about 11 amps.
Wow.
And I was telling Brett, we had the same situation. I went to a call. They were burning out a motor, and it was a secondary loop. And I believe the maintenance guy, what he did is he changed the motor from being about, let's say, I don't know, 40 feet away, maybe not that much, maybe 20 feet away, to right beside the boiler. So I had no more head, and it was just overamping. I was like, what the fuck's going on here? And I actually had to double check it by doing a little PSI check as well, but they burnt through pumps, and I was like, what the fuck? And I started dissecting. I'm like, what's going on here? Did you guys change something here? Why is this pump? And it was just overamping because it was just moving too much, you could say. And I think there's a term for it, but I think it's runaway pump or something like that. But
deadheading? Oh no, that's the other thing.
Yeah.
But in Kevin's case, though, his problem was, what was it again?
Basically, the impeller was a lot bigger than what it should have been.
Now, how does that happen?
Yeah, was this a pre-built pump?
Yeah. So on supermarket glycol systems, basically, you know, you have a pump skid that comes in, and you know, usually what happens is there's some manufacturers that have a bypass. So if the differential would, you know, get too high because of basically cases shutting off, you know, basically the bypass opens up, and sometimes they also combat that by basically putting a small 1/4-inch line with a circuit setter on there to basically, you know, bypass a little bit of glycol. But on this particular instance, you know, he basically, you know, his suction was like 10, and I think his discharge was 70. So he had a hellacious, you know, differential. And, you know, we checked the expansion tank to make sure that wasn't overpressurized or whatever. And, you know, we were running out of ideas. So basically he called up to, you know, the manufacturer, and they were like, we think there might be some issue with the impeller. So basically like 11 o'clock or I think it was 10 o'clock at night, because we were recording. We just did an episode for VFDs, but you know, he's like, oh, man, you know, we were talking for almost 2 hours. He's like, I got to bail because the job that he's on, he's been working a lot.
And that's another reason why those pump curve charts are important, because with those numbers that you got, you could pump them in the pump curve chart, and you could realize if that pump is fucked up, you could say.
Yeah, I mean, he was checking, you know, making sure that he didn't have a blockage in the pipe. I mean, there's basically 4 returns, so the balance of probability suggesting that he had a blockage across every single loop is very, very low. So unless he had something in there, they checked the strainer, they checked everything, and basically, they sent him they sent him the sizes of the pump, and basically, like I said, about 10 or 11 o'clock at night, they had to pull the whole damn thing apart.
Wow.
So I'm going to change the subject, and you were talking about a strainer right now, and it just reminded me, I've told this story before, but I used to do work for a hospital that had a lot of water-cooled everything, right? Water-cooled refrigeration, air conditioning, you know, and I would get calls at that hospital, and they would say, you know, we got a water source heat pump and whatever not working, you know, and you go up there and check the TD across the condenser, and you're like, this thing's fouled. Like, what's going on? You know, so you pull the strainer out, and there's no strainer. was like, where's the strainer at? You know, so then I'll be working on something else. And I found this happen a few times. I'm like, there's no strainer, you know, so I'd order a new assembly, get a new strainer, whatever, put it in, clean it. And then this happened like 3 or 4 times. And then I finally went to the lead engineer and I'm like, hey, why are all the strainers missing? Oh, those keep plugging up. So we just take them out.
Yeah.
Come on, guys. Like, you know, and it's like, dude, you know how much time I have to spend cleaning that condenser? Well, yeah, because they have an open loop system, right? So they have a cooling tower outside, you know, and it's just, that's why, because it's just mud, and everything that would plug up would be down in the basement because the way they had the system piped, it would always, you know, just settle down there. It's like, guys, can you stop taking we have to clean them weekly. So you'd rather pay me $1,200 to come out and clean the damn thing monthly? Like, just clean the damn strainers then, or figure out the problem, put a bigger strainer. Come on, guys. Like,
I used to work at a chocolate plant out in Pennsylvania, and I got a call for, you know, one of their main chillers, you know, going off on high pressure, and then while I was there, another chiller went off on high pressure, another chiller went off on high pressure, another one. So I was thinking something common. So like I'm checking the flow and stuff. Flow was okay. All the approaches were ridiculously just not there, and I pulled one system. I was already pulling one system apart to see if it was fouled up. And, you know, basically I'm cleaning the tubes on this. And at the end, I'm getting like sticks of butter out the end about, you know, yay long when I'm, you know, brushing the tube.
When you're pushing it out. Yeah.
So for some odd reason, so in chocolate production, one of the byproducts is cocoa butter.
Okay.
And, you know, so, you know, that women use for, you know, pregnancy, you know, stretch marks and stuff. And basically, I don't know why this is even a thing, but basically they had a valve of wherever they pulled the cocoa butter out that was connected to their condensing loop. So basically they dumped a shit ton of cocoa butter.
Wait, they mixed cocoa butter in the,
I mean, did it just keep popping up?
So 50, so you got 50 pieces of equipment. You got single things that are inside. Yeah. You got anything from like, you know, did you ever see? It looks almost like a package unit, but it's inside. And it's basically just water cooled, right? So those were all packing up. They had York chillers, train chillers. So like for days, I'm literally just cleaning tubes.
Wow.
So like this place, like I worked for a company called Devault Refrigeration. We did industrial, you know, heavy industrial stuff, and you know, but that one account, I would be there every day. There was something to do every day. And every day I come home and I would smell like Nestle Quick. Like my wife was pregnant at the time. I'd open up the door and she's like, you know, I would take a shower and like I had chocolate milk mix in the bottom of my fucking bathtub.
Oh, dude.
Oh,
that's better than the prep table funk I go home with, dude.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
It smells like salad dressing.
Or a morgue.
Sour milk.
Luckily, all the morgue work that I did, again, was just at the hospital, and it wasn't like they were storing, you know, the bodies would only be in there for 2 days. Then the actual morgue would come and pick them up and take them, you know, or mortuary would pick them up and take them. So, but there's some funny calls too. Again, that hospital had me a lot of fun calls, but yeah, you get called at 2 a.m, you know, and morgue cooler, and they call you. Yeah, we got a fully loaded morgue cooler that's down. It's got 4 passengers in it. I'm like, all right, well, you got to take them out before I get there. Cause like, these are small coolers, you know, like, what are we going to do with them? I was like, I don't know, dude. Like, I don't
prop them up in the corner.
These are small coolers.
You ever see Weekend at Bernie's?
Yeah, to get into them, like I'm not climbing on bodies, you know. Like you gotta. No,
I would.
No, but the one time I did, that time I was like, dude, you got to make him go. He's like, I don't know what I'm gonna do.
Like, I don't know, man. I'm gonna have to 69 this dead guy to get to that TXV.
You could bring a bag full of sunglasses with you, put them on the bodies, and there's your freaking Instagram post right there.
Yeah, that would have got me shit can. But I got there. There was no bodies in there, and I looked around. Like, I'm like, where the fuck did he put them? Like, dude, I could only imagine they were in like the walk-in cooler, like the fucking dietary cook lady walks in. She's like, ah!
That's what you would hope. There's like a broom closet down the hall that they're all.
Yeah, I don't know where the fuck they were. They were in shipping and receiving or something, just sitting there.
I've worked on morgues, but I've worked also like SPCAs and stuff, you know, shelters and stuff.
Yeah.
And the first time I'd ever been there, I was doing all the HVAC, and they're like, "Well, you got to check out this cooler." So the light was off, so I'm going around like Helen Keller trying to find the damn light switch. I kick something. I'm like, what? So I turn on the light, and there's a you know, black garbage bag with Old Yeller in the bottom. I'm like, what the?
Nice.
Wow. Oh man, there was one time we were working at the hospital, and I think we were up in podiatry, I think it was, or something. And they had like a Charleston cooler, and you open it up, and there's a fucking foot like cut off at the ankle, just sitting like a trophy, just fucking in the cooler, like no bag. And I'm like, what the fuck? There's a foot.
I should have said, "Are you guys playing Monopoly in here?"
Oh man,
real.
So,
Adam, you're very quiet tonight. What's up?
I was gonna tell him how his week, because I know he had a rough week, so I wanted him to vent.
I don't even remember what I did this week, to be honest. I know.
Well, you know, you dealt with that lady there, that the customer who was doing manual J's for you.
Oh yeah, remember that story from last week we didn't get to? About,
no, it was this week, I believe, too.
Was it this week? It spilled over into this week. The big wig shop that came in and installed that unit, and she's like, "No, get it out of here."
Oh yeah.
That's kind of old news, but I could talk about that for a moment.
Sure,
do it.
Yeah, no, probably the biggest, if not the second biggest, residential company in Chicago installed a system for this lady. We bid the job in July, and they had the other company install it, and they've had 10 service calls since it was installed. And they said at least 4 times they added refrigerant to it. Then they ended up calling us back because they said they're not sure. They're kind of at a loss of why it's not working. They think it's leaking. They think there's problems with the electric in the house, like their house electric, like the line voltage or whatever. I'm like, what? So we go out there. This compressor is just screaming. They overcharge the thing like crazy, and airflow is low. They put in a 3-ton. They put in a 3-ton with like marginally 2 tons worth of ductwork, and the thing's icing up, and they just keep dumping charge. So she ended up having them pull the system, and we installed the new one.
So they pulled the entire brand new system out and took it back.
Yep, paid her. They refunded the money.
Either that or quit, I guess.
That's when you know it's bad, when the company pulls out their own stuff and gives her money back. I wonder what she had to do to get that point. Like, what did she threaten? Because they didn't.
My question is, I wonder where, like, how do companies, like, after the second callback, don't you think you would like step up the urgency of it and be like, okay, let's send out somebody with a brain here?
Yeah, let's pull our sales guys off here and
maybe do a load count.
You bring up, I mean, it's funny how this segued, because we kind of wanted to go into this, but I mean, unfortunately, I think on the residential side, they're getting in like just a bum rush of sales companies coming in that honestly don't have very much technical abilities.
True. Well, that's because a lot of these big meetings they have, it's all sales oriented. Nobody's talking about like how to actually fix stuff anymore. It's all how to sell stuff, how to sweet talk people. I mean, and like I said on last week's show, there's a difference between teaching an awkward guy like myself how to properly communicate with your big fancy words to a customer, get your point across, versus how do I manipulate this situation and sort of back the customer into a corner where they feel they have to do X amount of repairs or replace or whatever I'm trying to get them to do.
Well, there's more margin in selling shit than potentially labor, right? I mean, a lot of markup is pretty damn high for parts. So the bigger the part, the bigger, especially if the techs or the sales guy is getting commission. And a lot of times now, like there's all these companies that are like, hey, I can come in and make your company, a lot of money, and they'll just teach the guys not how to fix anything, but basically just how to sell shit.
Yeah.
You want to have an average ticket of $84,000 a week? Yeah.
What about like, so the warranty repairs for those sales companies have to be through the roof, right? They have to be coming up, oh, it's this part, and they have to be warranting it through insert name of manufacturer here. Do you think these manufacturers are just letting this happen because of how many purchases they're making as far as total equipment goes? Because there has to be a point when a manufacturer says you can no longer sell our line of equipment because you're making us a bad name, or are the manufacturers just loving the sales?
Oddly enough, the day after we installed the system from the big boys that they pulled out the equipment, right? I was going to pick up a carrier part at the local distributor, and it was first thing in the morning. Legit, that company had like 10 or 15 install trucks sitting out there waiting to be loaded up with systems. And this is one of the 4 or 5 different big carrier branches in the area. So do the math on that, like how much equipment they're buying on a freaking daily basis.
Yeah. So they're just like, warranty parts are nothing compared to the sales that
I
they're
would
making.
think so. Yeah.
That's just gotta, I mean, at some point I've talked to I know some people that became like, what's the name for it? you're the person that mitigates the problems for the manufacturer. So carrier, whoever, you're the warranty representative that goes out and solves the real trouble calls, you know, and things like that. You know, he's not the guy doing the work, but he's just the representative of the manufacturer. And I've talked to those guys and they tell me stories and I'm like, why would you not cut that company off? And they're like, oh, their sales are just through the roof. Like they won't cut them off.
They're selling boxes, son.
FSR, field service rep.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Field service rep or whatever.
Or field service engineer.
It just baffles me. I mean, you know, we kind of were talking about this a little bit before the show, but there is this huge influx of these salespeople right now. And kind of like you said, Brett, there's these guys all over the internet. We see them. We all, you know, view it on Facebook and whatever. And I mean, you know, we'll come out and do seminars and teach you guys how to sell, you know, basically when heating season comes, they're taught how to tell grandma she's going to die if they don't make this repair. And they're taught how to tell grandma she's going to die because it's Nevada in the summer and you need to fix your air conditioner, you know? And while there's nothing wrong with being honest and fair and truly telling someone you have a cracked heat exchanger, I need to shut off the system because you know, there's potential of carbon monoxide or different things like that. But also it's also important to understand I'm not a resi guy, but I have a basic understanding of combustion and all that crap. And just because you have a cracked heat exchanger doesn't mean there's going to be carbon monoxide, but out of pure precaution, we're going to shut the system down.
Yeah.
You know, and you need to replace it because there's the potential of carbon monoxide. But these companies are taught to just, you know, go out there and just bam, bam, bam. Here's this. It's going to kill, you know, this bacterial growth and it's going to solve all your problems when they don't know that voodoo magic crap's going to do anything.
Be way better. Yeah.
You know?
Anthony Marino, good to see you in here. He works at Kalos and he says he's one of that company there, Brian Orr's company, is the only one that's pretty much one of the only ones in Florida still left doing the proper way. You know what I mean? There's so many down there. I see companies down in Florida, I'm sorry to say, from just the group. And I'm like,
well, because Florida is primarily a retirement haven, right? You have big money that moves there and lives in South Beach. And then you have a large influx of retirement snowbird type people that go there and then just say, hey, you know what? We used to live in Canada, but we're going to move here and we're going to live here, you know, and they don't want to deal with
only 6 months though. We still come back because we can't leave.
We have a few of those down here too. Palm Springs is one of them, or Coachella Valley. And it is normal for an air conditioning service company in the fall, because we don't have winters out here in California, right? It's 60 degrees in the winter. So in the fall, that air conditioning company closes down and becomes a landscaping company. And then they open back up in the summer. And and that's a thing. I mean, and
weird
because the sales are so high, but they're
super weird.
Yeah.
Now, Brett, you used to be a residential guy, right?
Yeah. When I first started, I was in residential.
When you were living in the Home Depot parking lot? So I originally went to school for electronical engineering. I got an associate's degree in electronical engineering, and I ran out of money, and I was working doing cell phone remanufacturing, and then I ended up working on graphic dimming panels for hospitals and X-ray rooms, you know, in stadiums. So basically, they can, dim like 277 lights. And I ended up getting laid off because it was a production job, and I started going to school part-time for HVAC. I went for about a semester, and the instructor pulled me aside. He's like, "What are you doing here?" I was like, well, real excited. I was like, "I want to be a mechanic." And he's like, "Well, you have a degree in electronics." He's like, "That's probably electrical and electronics is probably 75 to 85% of what you do in HVAC and refrigeration." He's like, "Did he give you your money back for the course?" And be like, "There you go."
He's like, "Go get a job." So basically, I got a job with a company that basically would give out rubber checks. So like you'd have to rush out and actually, cash your check before
the money was gone.
Yeah. So you didn't go to the last one that your paycheck would bounce. And so I was homeless at the time, and basically what I did was I didn't have any tools. I was living in a 71 Plymouth Valiant. So basically I ended up going to Home Depot, getting a credit card for $2,000, basically maxed it out so I had enough tools. And I've told this story before on my podcast, but basically, the first guy I worked for, I'd been in the field for 35, 40 years. The one of the company is like, "You're a piece of shit. You're never going to amount to anything. I don't even know why you're doing this." And I'm rethinking. I'm like, "Oh my God, what do I do?" This was the career that I chose.
What kind of motivating meeting was that?
Yeah, right.
How did it come about?
What's that?
How did that come about? Like the conversation?
They sent me out on a call, and man, it was so, I've been doing this shit almost 18 years. So like, it was like, I don't remember what exactly it was, but basically it was probably a callback or something. And kid, you just need to hang up your deal. Like, I don't even know why you're here. I should just fire you. I'm like, mother, so like, and I vowed, like, if I ever ended up getting decent at what I do, like, I was never going to make anyone feel like that, because, that's the worst feeling in the world, not knowing like how to fix stuff. And like I said before, I mean, that's part of the reason why we started the podcast. I don't want anyone to ever feel like that ever.
Yeah. Just make
the
knowledge widely available.
Did you mail that 40 under 40 magazine to your old boss?
No.
Before I realize that a lot of people here, we're all comfortable with Brett and have had Brett on here before, but we might have some new people here. So Brett has a podcast called Advanced Refrigeration Podcast.
I put it in chat as well, by the way.
Did you? Okay. Where can they find it? On all the podcast apps, I'm assuming?
Yeah. So basically it's on Apple Podcast, Castbox, Spotify, Google. You basically do a Google search. We're starting to put everything up on YouTube, surely but slowly. So a lot of some of the podcasts that we do, basically are more visual. So we started the channel so we can actually start putting some of that stuff up there. And so like some of the engineering ones that we did a microthermal EMS one that predominantly it was all visual. So anytime that people were sharing screens and stuff, so people could actually see what the hell we were doing. One of the first ones we did, which was sizing of separators, oil separators. That's another example of one that was really visual.
Yeah, and you guys have a Facebook page, you have a Facebook group,
OnlyFans
and
page.
Yesterday you did your first live stream.
Yeah.
Yeah, yesterday you did your first live stream too, right?
I didn't even know. What the hell?
No, I was telling Billy he's not supposed to tell about the OnlyFans.
Oh. Hey, I told my
we
wife.
we had a meeting yesterday about like discussing if we should start an OnlyFans page for Overtime.
Yeah.
Yep.
I wanted to start an OnlyFans just for myself, and I wanted to troll everybody. I had a couple ideas. Number one, I was just going to put normal videos on there. Number two, I was going to do creepy videos of just my feet, right? And I told my wife, I was like, seriously.
Call Nathan Orr.
Yeah.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Now, I wanted to say this. Did you know what Nathan Orr did on this show?
Yes, I watched the episode.
That was fucking hilarious,
Awesome.
Right? Like,
Did you see the shout out that he gave us for our 100th episode?
He was pissing in a toilet.
Yeah,
dude.
he was pissing while he was like, I never thought you guys would amount to nothing.
So, talking about OnlyFans, so like, there's a guy that I work with, Shank. If you're listening, I'm sorry, but
his name is Shank.
His nickname Shank. So basically, it's funny because like every machine room that he goes into, like it says "Sup Bud," like in every single motor room he's in.
Oh fuck.
And so anyway, so like his oh god, he's gonna kill me. His stepdaughter, he's like, yeah, my stepdaughter has an OnlyFans, the mom, his wife's like, it's not what you think. I'm like, yeah,
it is.
Good
what
for her.
No one does an OnlyFans.
No.
Look at my feet. He's got a Tarantino fetish. That's what it is.
Does he start that story off with "It's my stepdaughter"? So like it makes it like a little less awkward.
Do we want to plug her channel?
No.
Yeah, we got that. That's a good one. We got
Absolutely
that.
not.
I got all these HVAC guys. What the hell?
Pervs.
Even if I had it, like I wouldn't. No. But it was just funny. I was drinking, and like I just out of the blue, he's like, yeah, my stepdaughter has an OnlyFans, and like his wife looks at me and she's like, it's not what you think, and I was trying not to laugh.
Oh my
and
God.
trying not to make eye contact. I'm like, yes, it is. Yes.
Well, the first thing that came to my head was like when you do the little cough in your shoulder, like, poor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Those girls are, well, so that's the thing. So like I read something in the news where they were, basically OnlyFans was getting rid of all the porn stuff, and I'm like, well, anyone that wasn't working at a Hooters or a restaurant is going to be going back to work shortly.
Mm-hmm.
I was talking, it's funny because my wife, I had to explain that whole situation. That was a massive.
Your wife has an OnlyFans.
Yeah, exactly. No, that was a massive publicity stunt. And my wife's like, well, how do you mean? And I go, look, OnlyFans has investors. The investors went to OnlyFans and were like, this is ridiculous. And OnlyFans knew what they were doing when they said we're getting rid of porn, because they basically let the public tell the investors you're fucking stupid. So OnlyFans was just like, look, all right, we're getting rid of porn. And they knew the outcome. They knew that the investors would end up saying, oh, we're going to lose all our money. Oh, okay. Yeah. Porn's cool.
By the way, this is one of the best segues ever.
Yes. This is how we, this is the overtime show, dude. We go from one thing to another.
It's better than our nonstop poop stories. Haven't had those in a while.
I told you guys all my shit stories, dude. You got any cool shit stories, Kevin? I called you Kevin.
Oh my!
Hey, you know what? Hey, here's a good segue. I have a question written down.
He's the one saying that. He's like, I'm
perfect segue. So I listen to Kevin on the podcast quite a bit, right? And I don't know, he's probably not watching because he's too good to listen to us, but he seems like a super nerd. Like, what's he like in real life? Is he a super nerd?
No, not at all.
Is he like a chill guy?
Yeah, absolutely. When we first started doing the podcast, I don't know if it's, he's kind of a little bit of an introvert, but I was like, we need to start drinking. We just need to start drinking. So just to, because we were nervous about it. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, we were just nervous when we first started doing it.
He's comfortable with dead air. Let's just say that.
Do you want me to see if I can get him on?
Yeah. Do it.
Sure.
I'm comfortable with dead air too.
So am I. Let's just stare at each other.
Yeah.
I'll send you the link.
I'm staring at you right now.
While he's doing that, why don't you say, Adam, what'd you do to fix that problem she had anyways? Like, what'd you do different?
I increased the size of the filter. I increased the size of the return. I dropped the tonnage by, down to a 2-ton, and I dropped the furnace down to from a 90 to a 60.
So you did obviously a load count and everything on her house, right?
No, I did not. I offered it to her.
Okay.
And she declined. So basically what I did was sized everything to the ductwork.
Which is ridiculous for a lady who's had like that, who has gone through that with all those problems.
Exactly what I was thinking.
And then you're like, well, we can really evaluate. We can look at your whole house, your whole system, because it's an entire system. It's not just one part. It's not just this furnace. It's an entire system. They all operate together. It's just like, no.
This is how it went down. She's like, well, how confident you could fix this? I'm like, pretty confident. I'm like, I would recommend that we go over everything and kind of look at what size you need for the house and at the ductwork and everything else.
Yeah. Because that last company probably just did a like for like change out, or maybe bumped.
No, they actually went bigger. What they told her is, you're right. You're marginal, right in between sizes. So we'll bump both the furnace and air up.
So I'm sure they did a, blower door test or some sort of comfort consult.
I was gonna say, wasn't she questioning some of your load counts? Wasn't she trying to do her own load count?
No, that's a different lady.
Okay, why don't you tell us about that one?
This lady is a trip.
She's a trip, guys. You got to hear this.
She is getting sick in her house. So she had
like she's really getting sick, or it's in her head sick.
I don't know. I think it might be in her head because like her house, she's like the air is bad quality, blah blah. You walk in the house, it's like pristine. It's like I feel like I'm outside. It's so whatever. But she took all the drywall down off the ceiling so she could look at the ductwork. She's like, there's joist panning. So she started removing the joist panning. And so then she gives me a spreadsheet that she came up with. I don't know how she figured it out, but she started doing her old load calc.
Excel spreadsheet, boys.
Yeah.
Load count. And was she saying that your numbers weren't right, or?
No, I didn't do a load calc. Okay. I offered her, and she's like, I'm paying an engineer to do it, and I did it myself, so I don't need you to look at anything. I'm like, okay, that's fine.
Sign here saying that I offered it.
Yeah,
exactly.
So
Kevin's out, by the way. Kevin, I called him because he wasn't responding. He's like I said, man, he's he's broken. He texted me yesterday. He's like, I'm kind of dead inside right now.
Yeah, from that story we were talking about off.
Yeah.
Off the air. Yeah.
So, there's a potential that you and Kevin are gonna be at the HVACR training symposium in Florida. Here, is there not?
Yeah, we're definitely gonna be there. He better be, because like I just paid for the flights. and then
there's also potential you're gonna be at the AHR trade show too, right?
Yeah, the AHR one. His wife's exact words were, "You're not going to Vegas with Brett." I don't know why. I've only been to one strip club my whole entire life.
I've never been to a strip club my entire life.
It was my bachelor party. I think that was the only reason why I went. Because I didn't understand the reason for getting blue balls and going home and getting blueberries.
Honestly, they're boring, man. I've been to a couple of them. They're just boring.
It's just not my thing. Like I'm not judging. I don't give a crap if people go or anything. It's just not my thing.
Go to a truck stop at like 2:00 in the morning. Get you a lot lizard and just be done with it.
What's the Canadian version of a lot lizard?
A trollop.
A fucking moose on the side of the road.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yes.
I never, you know what? I never heard of lot lizard before.
Do you guys have whores?
It's a fucking whore that hangs out.
Oh, I know, but we don't
in
call
Canada. Can't they? Aren't prostitutes legal? Isn't prostitution legal?
No.
Yeah, doesn't Trudeau let you guys do that shit, or the Queen,
Yeah.
or whoever rules you?
No.
Yeah. Whoever's on your Looney Tooney money.
The Queen's still on your money, right?
Sorry.
He's basically English, and they have the Queen on their money.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
English, and
no,
French,
I think what's the name of the? I can't remember the name. I don't think we have a name really. Say truck stop horse. I don't know.
Yeah. They just walk up to the truck. You look at her. Hey.
Hey.
All right.
Hey,
Hey, buddy. Hey, friend. Hey, pal.
Hello, buddy.
Hello, buddy.
Don't call me buddy, friend. Don't call me buddy, friend, pal.
Hello, buddy.
Yeah,
love
Joe,
that
you
guy
got
on
no
TikTok, by the
excuse
way.
to come down for AHR or anything like that because I heard they opened the borders. So
Yeah.
you can come.
So everybody, Joe's coming to the
unfortunately,
symposium.
to travel, you gotta be all up to date with your vaccines. So that's
Oh, you don't got to have a vaccine, bro. Just cross the border illegally. You're good.
yeah. I
Problem solved.
wish.
Go down to Niagara Falls.
I'll snub.
Yeah.
I'll
I
snub
know.
you in.
Yeah.
Snub you in. I'm close enough.
Get in a damn barrel.
Yeah.
Meet me at the
I
bridge.
wish.
Meet me at the bridge, Joe.
I want to see that again. I want to see someone do that again. But anyways, no, there's even a job this is not my job, another guy's job at a big company that competes with Intel, and they're saying we can't go in there without vaccines either. So unfortunately, it's what it comes down to. So
You're not going to get the shot.
I have to.
Mm.
I have no choice. I was gonna wait off on it, but that's all. But
I already have 3
Well-
kids, so if I can't have any more kids, that's fine.
Yeah.
right.
I already
like the
have
way
my
you did.
first. I don't have this. I need to go get my second one, but it's whatever, dude. I'm the guinea pig. I'll let it happen. I don't give a shit.
Well, Chris,
Jesus
are you?
Happy makes a good point. I could dress up as a moose and go across the border. Is this still season for moose hunting though? That would be a bad decision if it was.
Joe's going to dress up like a lot lizard and get a ride from a trucker.
There you go.
Woo! Let's do it.
Flannel shirt, tie it up in a knot, like
Gonna
right
be
above
on
your
the
belly
news.
How you doing, eh?
Yeah.
On my way, eh?
button. Just shave all your body hair, so you just leave that little happy trail.
Well,
The trail to paradise, they call it.
Yeah, yeah. You know what I'm
trail
talking
to
about, Joe.
happiness. Yep. Well, guys, I think we've reached our time, and it's time to wrap it. So
Yeah.
Wrap it and smack it.
We're for
Smack
sure
it.
going to have him on soon again, and I want to talk about more into we'll talk about more in depth, like about maybe cascades or
well,
fucking.
why
compounds.
didn't you? We've been talking.
we
about
have-
it.
We gotta. It's a little.
And you let
Maybe-
me just fucking talk about bullshit the entire
Yeah, for a
time.
second there, I thought Chris was the guest. I'm like,
Yeah.
wait a
Oh my
minute.
god! No, it was a great show, guys. I just, we have so little time and so much to talk about. So
I don't know if I would go as far as calling it a great show, but
It was close. It was close. Top 100 at least.
Well, let's just say I can do without one person, and it's not Brett. So, Brett can stay, but one other person has to go. I'm not going to name names.
He's
Nobody.
you guys are making up for last time because you guys just let me ramble for like 3 hours.
Boom.
That was perfect.
Cut him right out of that one.
We're still live, by the way. Oh, man. Yeah. We are still live. You got to
Yeah,
watch.
we have to say that
Fuck
because
everybody.
if we don't say that, we'll just jump back in here. Everybody's like swearing and cussing, and Joe's being all racist, and he's like
Yeah.
throwing out just them bad racist words.
No, I think there's a lot of units that people come across, and
did you want me to press pause so you can talk, Joe?
You need to give him full screen, Adam.
Yeah, where's that life advice at,
Give
Joe?
him full screen. Go ahead, Joe. Say what you were going to say.
guys? Make sure you hit the like button. How hard is it to go back if you have to?
Your Apple camera's messed up, bro.
Is it?
Hey, wiggle the wires in your potato.
Yeah. Yeah, you're like a potato, dude.
Really?
I think it's your Apple camera.
And I can't hear you. Your microphone's too far away. Pull it closer.
No, pull it back. Pull it back. A little
Put
bit
the
further.
microphone under your
Now go back forward. Point closer. Now back. No. Shave the microphone towards your mouth.
The microphone on your face.
Gone.
Swap
He's on.
On that note, see you next